Game Cats. I hope you're enjoying your holidays. I enjoyed mine. Yesterday, I walked around town. I met this sketchy guy in an alleyway, and he sold me this pot. I really hope I didn't get ripped off. Well, it's time for viewer takeover.
This is Midnight Games Cast, where we film live and bring it to you live, except for this week because we did Christmas this week.
Yes.
We were all busy this week.
Very merry.
That happened. That's a thing for sure. But anyway, but as we always do, we always pre-record Viewer Takeover, which we bring to you every Wednesday, which is not this week, but every today as Viewer Takeover, when the loyal Game Cats will let you take over the show. As always, my name is Brian Paul, and to my right, your left, the king of all VR kings, it's Jeremy. Oh, hey, what's up, Des?
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
When did you get here? 17 hours ago. We've been filming nonstop for 17 hours. So before we start Viewer Takeover, there's a few things we want to do.
Okay.
First, we want to thank Jay Dow for that awesome Viewer Takeover introduction. Also, we got some holiday Viewer Takeover intros that are just going to be kind of late. So expect some holiday introductions into late January.
Yes, yeah. No, because we were asking for the holiday ones, but you do have to remember we film these kind of ahead of time. So like getting into us the day before Christmas, you ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We'll air them anyways.
So thank you, Jay Dow, for that awesome introduction. If you want to introduce next week's Viewer Takeover introduction, well, I've got a couple ahead of you, but make sure you send it your short, sweet, sexy, simple, keep most of your clothes on. Viewer Takeover introduction to withoutparole@gmail.com. Thanks, Jay. We appreciate that. Jay's awesome.
Yes.
I mean, it was a stupid joke, but I appreciate his stupid joke. But there's some other people we want to thank, too.
Wait, are there any other kind?
Stupid jokes?
Yeah.
There's some pretty intelligent jokes, I think.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, his was stupid. We also want to thank these people. These people down here. These are our loyal Patreon supporters. They all went to patreon.com/withoutparole.
Games.
Oh, thank you. And they're giving us $1 or more every single month. And for that $1 or more every month, they get a bonus episode of The Litter Box, which is me and Des most of the time just hanging out talking about video games. But and we haven't been putting MP3s up. If anybody doesn't like the fact that I haven't been uploading MP3s, please let me know.
Yes.
I've just been really busy, and I will do it if everybody wants them. But if no one cares, it's just a waste of my time.
Yeah.
And so all these people down here, make sure you go to patreon.com/withoutparole.
It's games.
And hit us up. So you can also be part of this illustrious list of Game Cats.
Yeah, it still blows my mind, and just I'm massively flattered and touched that anyone, like if one person was there, it would be amazing. But like with so many of you, it's just
once upon a time there was only one person on that list.
This is true.
Yeah. It was my mom.
Oh.
But of course,
my mom barely knows what YouTube is. So
and knowing what we do on the channel, probably for the best.
Yeah.
But of course, our loyal Patreon supporters are not the only people we want to thank.
No, they are not. So we want to thank the other people who completely blow our minds, who actually have taken the step of changing their names on YouTube to something the Game Cat.
These are the fluffiest of the fluffy.
Beyond fluffy. So I guess we'll just get to the list.
Yeah, let's talk about the people that changed their name to Game Cat. If you changed your name to Game Cat, make sure you, in the comments somewhere, write #GameCat, all one word, and then so we can give you a shout out on next week's show.
Absolutely. So we have Let Me Kick Your Ass in Firewall, the Game Cat.
Bing. I gotta say that's one of my favorites ever. I don't know how long that will be relevant for, but I love it while it is.
Next up we have VR King Nixon.
Maybe, yeah.
AKA Jace the Game Cat.
Bing.
Matt, is that okay, never mind. Matt 3311, the Game Cat.
Bing. Bing. I can't imagine what I was confused about.
Well, I just think that might be like a Bible verse. Matthew 33:11. That's just.
Oh, it's very possible.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm not the person to ask.
We are welcome to all types here.
We are welcome to all types, but I went to Catholic school for like ever, and I don't know anything about the Bible.
I should know that. It's ringing some kind of bell in the back of my head. I think it might have been one of the themes at the summer camp I worked at.
Detach the bell from the back.
Oh, please do. Duran Fan VR, the Game Cat.
Bing. Oh, that was formerly Duran Fan Wisconsin, WI.
Oh, okay.
So thank you
Now,
very much.
Durant fan VR. J-Dub Game Cat Extraordinaire. That's becoming a thing.
Yeah, well, it's
Not
part of the Game Cat Extraordinaire family.
Yes.
Him and superstar Mikey Diaz, are forming a subcategory of Game Cats.
And finally, last but by no means least, this is why Brian had me read them this week. Fantabulous, meaningless concatenations of #GameCats.
Bing!
You know who you are.
You know who you are. All right, so of course,
And so do we.
every week on Viewer Takeover, we basically search the comments for #Viewer Takeover, all one word, and because we don't want to put in any effort to search for quality questions. Now, I need to say something about this very quickly.
Okay.
Keep it brief. All right. When it's like a whole page and I have to like edit it down, or like you can't even see us because there's so much text on the screen.
Yeah.
Like if you have a comment and then a separate Viewer Takeover question, Inspector Gadget the Game Cat, then please put them in separate comments.
Well, here's a great idea for and it's I think it's George Schwab first started doing this in some of the skeptic conventions, but there are some rules about questions. Like, make sure your question is a question and is not your soapbox to give your opinion.
Also true.
Like, the comments are a great place to put your opinions in, but if you actually want to know our opinion on something, it should be a question.
Yeah, I see a lot of #Viewer Takeovers that don't even ask questions.
Yeah.
I don't mind some of those as a conversation starter.
Sure.
But ask a question so we know where to start the conversation.
Right, exactly. And so we know, we know what angle you want us to approach this at. Yeah. The other thing is, make sure, like, and here's the other, I think this is another George Hart rules. If I was someone else, would I care about this question? Like, if I were someone else in the audience, so it's like, maybe you're super into his ties, but
I'm also super into this question. Is that our first question?
Sure.
Okay.
No, but the idea is, try to keep it short, because we don't get to that many, and basically the longer the questions are, the less questions we can get to.
First up is Zoo.
Yeah.
Zoo, Ziew,
Zoo
Music from PSVR this week.
week.
He writes in good form, #Viewer Takeover. I am a new fan of yours. Oh, thank you, dude. Awesome channel, guys. Just bought a PSVR Mega Pack that includes the PSVR camera, Skyrim, Doom, Astrobot, Wipeout, VR Worlds. Currently in the EU for $250.
That's madness.
Now he did put, just so everyone knows, he put a $, so I don't know if he did the conversion for us. He writes, I played all of the above games, plus Static. Good job, sir. This is someone who watched our channel and knows what good games are. Using the DualShock 4, and it's simply amazing.
Yes.
He writes, anyway, I'm thinking about getting Moves or the aim controller and was wondering which controller is better. What would you buy first? Moves support many more titles, but I wonder, can you move without teleportation using the moves in all games, which support free moving on DualShock 4 and aim? It's an excellent question.
Yes.
I think we can tackle this pretty easily. A lot of games allow you to use full locomotion with the Move controllers.
Yes.
Not all of them.
No.
This is a game-by-game basis. A lot of them do force you to use teleportation. Sorry, it's one of those things I would love to put at the end of every single review. Right. We already put which controllers it supports, but then I'd love to say, this only teleportation. Yeah. But frequently that comes up in the review. And
not only that is a moving target too. That's usually one of the first things that's patched or finished.
Yeah, smooth turning, full locomotion, the whole deal. Yeah. But so what's your answer to the move or aim question?
For me, it's not even a question. It's the Move controllers.
Yeah.
There are just so many more games, and the level of interaction you can get with an environment with the Move controllers. Yes, there are some unique experiences with the aim. There are some games that you can only play with the game, or they're best with only play with the aim, or they're best with the aim. But I think, you want to be in VR so you can feel what it's like to be in that world, and just having your two hands in the game is the only way you can get there.
Yeah, I totally agree 100%, with one exception. If you happen to be like me, and you've already got all these great games, like you literally just got a PlayStation VR, and you've gotten like a handful of amazing games that'll keep you busy for a very long time.
I think almost all of these were on our top 20. No, 2 of them weren't, but hey, that's not too bad.
I want to say that the only exception to what Des said, if you're like me and in the next game you buy is Firewall 0 Hour, and it hooks you like it hooked me, you need a name controller, right? Because you've got all these games that are just fine with the DualShock 4, but the aim controller will work with Doom that you already have. and you'll. I mean, I have spent hundreds of hours in Firewall.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say is that like. If the next game you buy is Firewall, get a name controller. But otherwise, absolutely, the move controllers are so much more
Spark
versatile.
and Beat Saber and Job Simulator. I expect you to die.
Agree. 100% agree. Like there's that tiny little like 1% chance that you're going to spend the next 100 hours of your life also in Firewall, and in that case, you should get a name controller. But otherwise, absolutely, the move controllers are so versatile and so well supported.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you. All right, you're up, Asia.
So this is from 3.
It is. I actually checked it. I made sure that none of them were lowercase L's.
Yeah.
It is I.
Okay.
All capitals.
From III on the top 20 PlayStation VR games. How did you get that name? Yeah. Anyways, I think the success of... Okay, I'm going to do some editing on the fly as we read this. So, I think the success of Beat Saber isn't good for the future of AAA, as everyone's going crazy for a basic rhythm game with only 2 colors and nothing more. There are more than 2 colors. The AAA studios got to be thinking, okay, Wipeout, Farpoint, Firewall, RE7, but they're all into this unfinished music game? Fuvkit. That's...
Oh, yeah, got it. No editing there.
Yeah. I feel this unanimous praise for for Beat Saber will discourage AAA. No. Sorry. I don't know. I feel very strongly the opposite of this. I am the guy who loves the weird indie titles. I am the guy who loves the weird indie developers. I like the creativity they're allowed to have because they don't have millions of dollars of marketing riding down their ass. They can get creative. They can do interesting things. So, you know what? If I would rather have 30 quirky but interesting and passionate indie games than another AAA port.
AAA port?
Yeah.
What about AAA OG, like original PSVR title?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see it, but I don't think the fact that like that Beat Saber was a relatively small title that's become this huge hit is going to stop Sony from... That's not going to be the right reason why they don't make a AAA game.
Right.
Let me put it that way.
Right. I think it's great to see the diversity.
Mm-hmm.
I highly doubt... If you look at the top 10 in our top 20 list...
Yeah.
There's this Beat Saber is the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
9, not 9, because I think to the top was number 10.
Right.
But a good percentage of our top 10 were very expensive titles to make.
Mm-hmm.
You have Borderlands 2 in there, you have Resident Evil 7, you have Skyrim in there,
yeah.
You have Wipeout Omega Collection. These are AAA games.
Yeah.
Beat Saber is the exception. I want to, or one of the exceptions. I want to say that I really think that some studios are going, what's the next game we should make?
Yeah.
And they look at the games that are available, seeing which ones are successful. But I think most studios go, what are we good at?
Yeah.
Right? I don't think Capcom's going to look at the success of Beat Saber and go, oh, we should obviously make something cheap next time around because they're looking at Resident Evil 7 going, oh, well, this is probably one of the best-selling games on PSVR, and we want to give them more of what they want from us.
And not only that, you have to think about the way these big companies are structured. Some guy who is the production designer of whatever the next game is going to walk in and is like, hey, you know how you paid me $150,000 last year plus all these points? I'm actually going to make a game that will only take us about 2.5 weeks to make, right. And our budget for it will only be like maybe $100,000. Yep. No, these people are going to be defending their jobs. That they want the big budget because they want the big money, because that's why they're working for Capcom. That's why they're working for all these big companies, because they want to make those big titles. So again, you might see maybe they're going to start taking some ideas from these developers,
which is fine.
Yeah, which we will probably see a lot of that. I'm looking at To the Top and saying, yeah, they're gonna steal those ideas right out from under you.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, the AAA studios aren't going to say, well, Beat Saber is a big hit, so we're going to drop down our budgets and make smaller games.
Yep, I think I absolutely love when I look at our top 20 list. What I love about it most is diversity. Yeah, there's almost a game for everyone. One of the few things it's missing is like a JRPG, mm-hmm. And maybe some sports titles. I don't know, but it is oh, everybody's golf is coming. That's fantastic. But no, I really don't think there's anything to worry about. And let's be fair, I think you're unfairly judging Beat Saber, calling it an unfinished game. I think it's pretty awesome for what it is.
Well, and that's and I think maybe that's where maybe there might be a disconnect from what it is. There's not a lot to the game. What it does exceptionally well.
Yeah,
it doesn't do a lot. As far as your definition of what a lot is,
right.
But it does that thing to almost a perfect level. So
I will say that Beat Saber is a perfect addition to your PSVR library. But unlike, say, like a game like Skyrim or Resident Evil 7, like I could play Resident Evil 7 over and over and over again for the next 100 years.
Yeah,
and same with Skyrim.
I wish Skyrim was as flawless as Beat Saber, actually.
Right, and I'd be okay without a Beat Saber in my catalog, but I wouldn't be okay without a Resident Evil 7 or without a Skyrim. Like these are like the core tenets of PSVR, the PSVR game catalog. Beat Saber is a fantastic addition, but it is not a staple.
Yeah.
All right, who read that? You?
That was me. So you got 3.
Next up comes from Tomo Prime from Viewer Takeover. He writes #Viewer Takeover.
Thank you.
Know what's up. Didn't the Borderlands devs say they took out multiplayer because of the new game feature, such as BAFT, the slow time thing? I find it hard to believe they could not implement something that Killing Floor Incursion did with its active slow motion effect done in multiplayer games. Killing Floor 2 also has a future. Tripwire Interactive is a company with small indie roots too. What do you guys think? I think it was corporate bullshit.
Okay.
Like they were like, hey, we don't want to put up the money to run servers for this thing for as long as it's going to take to do that. And if we strip out multiplayer, it's going to cost us way less time and money to port this thing over to PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
Let's strip that out. We'll add a slow motion effect. Bam, single player game, done. And I think that was the only way we were getting Borderlands 2.
Okay.
I think they came up with an excuse. It was a decent excuse, but it was total bullshit. I didn't make the game. That's my opinion.
I'm gonna back off from that and say I don't know. I don't know how hard it is to develop. I don't know how they implemented this. There's obviously going to be something radically different about Killing Floor Incursion and Borderlands 2. So maybe there actually is a real legitimate reason. I mean, maybe it's just
they're wildly different games.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though you run around and kill stuff in both games, they are wildly different from a core gameplay mechanic.
Well, and
there's so many systems in place in Borderlands.
And what's the draw distance in Killing Floor?
I think they're both pretty good.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I just think that like there's more going on under the hood in Borderlands than Killing Floor.
Yeah.
Like with all these systems in place, with all these skill points that you have to designate where to go, and with all these different types of weapons and the upgrade systems, it's crazy. I can only imagine what's actually happening. But still, in my book, I think they went, what's an easy answer?
Right.
Oh yeah, we implemented a slow motion feature that wouldn't work in multiplayer.
And I think the last sentence of your question really kind of hits to that too. Tripwire Interactive, the company with indie roots too, and with indie roots, they're far from that now.
Yeah.
So
it's something we will never know the actual answer of.
Yeah.
For me it felt like corporate speak, which I'd always much rather hear inside tales of development, and so we can have the real answer. And if the real answer was it would cost too much money, I'd rather hear that than something that sounds like kind of bullshit.
And I mean, let's also say too, like I think we've said this I'm losing track of it now, but I don't want to be in the position of like, oh, thank you, sir, for giving us a AAA title. But I think this was kind of a test balloon to see like, all right, we're gonna give you this kind of neutered version of a very popular game in VR. Let's see what you do with it.
Yeah.
And if people buy it and complain, or people don't buy it and don't complain, or they're basically listening to our reactions.
They're testing the waters. I feel like they want to do it as cheap as possible to make sure that their risk was as low as possible, and that I really wish developers these days are super transparent, but I feel like that's a step that like people like 2K and Gearbox haven't quite taken yet.
Yeah.
All right, you're up.
All right. So we have number 4 is Jeff Cooper.
Hey, Jeff.
On Viewer Takeover.
Hey, Viewer Takeover. Oh, that's not a thing.
Yeah. This is another meta one. So on Viewer Takeover, #Viewer Takeover. Listening to your comments about supporting games to encourage future games got me wondering about Moss. It seems like there are a lot of episodic games for VR that never made it past the first installment, i.e. Loading Human Chapter 1. Given how awesome Moss was, and yes it was, and how it basically ends with the promise of more installments, have you heard about any potential sequels happening? No. If a game of that quality doesn't get enough support to warrant a sequel, then first, I die of sadness, and then second, what in the world would it take? This is the question with any kind of developer, with any kind of sequel, really. Yeah, we would love to see a sequel to Moss. Maybe not so much Loading Human, but definitely Moss.
I would personally.
Yeah.
I know we've already gone through this on Why We Love PSVR, but I would personally like to see a sequel to Loading Human, Chapter 2, that takes Chapter 1 and brings it into the new game engine with the new control mechanics and
Makes
says,
it last 10 minutes instead of...
And says, hey, here's what we learned over the last 2 years of development.
Yeah.
And we made Loading Human Chapter 2, and look how much better we made it. And they bring Loading Human Chapter 1 along with it, but kind of, shoehorn it into their new system. I would actually like to see a developer say, we've learned a lot, and things have changed, and now there is sort of like this universal locomotion system that's way easier than this thing we were doing before. Oh, the paper dolls, seriously, what were you doing? So it's... I would like... I don't think there's any Chapter 1 out there that I would not want to see a Chapter 2 of.
Okay.
Personally.
Well, we did get Unearthing Mars Chapter 2, and...
Which was better than the first.
Okay.
I mean, only because I get to shoot a lot of stuff. It wasn't that much better.
Yeah, and as far as like hearing things about Moss specifically, I'm flattered to think that you guys think we have like some inner workings with these companies, but we know we try to do our research when we can, but we also try to stick to like facts. So I don't want to get into speculation.
Also, I don't tell you anything.
Yeah, well, there's that too.
Yeah,
he probably knows actually.
I know everything.
He's like, oh, it's coming out tomorrow, Des.
Yeah, in fact, there's we were just talking about the transparency of developers, and so many developers have been so transparent recently. And don't forget, that's new.
Yes,
right? Like literally 5 years ago.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't like this at all.
No,
you wouldn't hear anything from developers. There weren't AMAs on Reddit. There weren't these things are new, and people are like, people are like, well, how come this developer is so quiet? Because they got nothing to say.
Because they're working hard on making the game.
Yeah, and I think that I'm not talking about you specifically, Jeff Cooper. I make it sound like I'm like, damn you, Jeff Cooper. Why would you say such a... No, not at all. There are people that get angry when they're like, well, it's unfair that they're not telling us every single thing they're doing. Yeah, and that shouldn't be the thing. Nope. Remember when E3 used to be exciting? Because we didn't know, reveal all these surprises. Like there are still like core events like that in the video game universe, in the video game ecosystem, that developers and publishers rely on to like reveal things so they can tell as many people as possible. Right. And so that's why I will 100% guarantee you that Moss Book 2 is being worked on. It probably sold like gangbusters because it was on PS4 first, and I think everyone loved it, and then it made the move to PC VR. Right. Which I'm sure exploded the sales. Yeah. This is a game that everybody loves practically universally, and Polyarc would be insane not to make Book 2. Yeah. I hope now that they've got the engine, they take their time and make something as lovingly crafted as the original. And the other thing is, the last part of your question, what in the world would it take? Let's not forget too that a lot of the times, and we've heard from really small developers like, I went into so much debt just getting this game launched. Yeah. And then if they can't recoup their money, then it doesn't matter how good the game was to begin with. This is a guy who was, trying to cram in code between their other jobs and all that, gambled everything, and like, oh, well, I didn't make any money on it. Now I've got to go back to waiting tables or something like that. So for every, pixel ripped, there's a dozen other developers who just tried and couldn't make it work. So it is a cutthroat, pretty awful industry to get involved in. So I don't know. What in the world would it take? If they get a success and they make money the first one, that's what it would take. Pretty much. And then finally, is it my turn? That would be your turn. All right, finally is Inspector Gadget GameCat from VR Apocalypse Review. And we will do that every time we read your name, just so you know. Oh yeah, dun 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 dun. But I'm pretty sure I chopped this one down. Okay. Senor Inspector Gadget GameCat is definitely one of the people we're talking about when we talk about very, very long viewer takeover questions. Brevity is the soul of wit. It doesn't mean we don't love you. I want to reaffirm that. We just want to love a little less of you. Inspector Gadget GameCat, not his first viewer takeover question, that's for sure. Writes, shouldn't publishers be sanctioned for releasing such terrible games by kind by some kind of true user scoring system, ratings via stars, and provide the possibility for those who purchase it to get their money back within a reasonable time. I personally would feel really upset if I had purchased this VR Apocalypse. It is not worth any bucks in my view. Also not worth any bucks in my view. The people who made VR Apocalypse and the people who made Boxing Apocalypse and the people who made Apocalypse Rider, by the way, so don't buy anything, Dylan Gladstone nailed this, don't buy anything with the word Apocalypse on PSVR.
Okay.
They should all, there's a very special place in hell for all of them.
Yeah. I think this actually kind of does tie into the question we just read, actually.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, there is a way to punish these people. It's just to not buy their games, so they don't have any success. So their cute little, developer folds, and they have to go back to selling dishwashers.
Which I hear is actually very profitable.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of one of the things we're doing here is we try and play this crap. So, again, so you don't have to.
Yeah, the answer is there is a rating system. It's called Without Parole.
Yeah.
We play them so you don't have to. We rate them so you know not to buy them.
We rate them specifically with this in mind. We have the 1, 2, 3 rating system, and number 3 is do not buy this. Do not. We need to show these developers that we don't deserve the kind of treatment.
Right, and as far as my regular 3 to 5 minute reviews go, it's very clear on VR Apocalypse. The issue is that people don't like waiting for reviews.
Yeah.
We don't get very seldom when a game is this bad do we get review keys ahead of time because the people who made it know how bad it is. Right? These people don't. The people who made VR Apocalypse never played video games before. Of course they have. They know that charging $18 for their pile of garbage is total highway robbery. I'm still fucking mad about this. You don't even know that it's ridiculous I'm just so angry I can't even talk. Don't reward these people. I know people want to play everything out there. I know that when Arc Park got a physical release, people are like, I was getting messages from people people that trust us implicitly, like Madman and Black the Game Cat, saying, "Hey, it's like £15 right now. Should I pick it up?" And I was like, "Still, don't do it, because even for that price, even if you get 5 minutes of enjoyment out of it, which you won't." You don't want to give these people your money,
right? And remember, your time is worth something.
That's right. So so even when things get extremely cheap, there is still a level of bad game that we should not be accepting of.
Yeah.
Now, the other part of this question is if you buy the game, there should be a way to get your money back within a certain amount of time. The only problem I have with this is that people will abuse it. People will play the crap out of every single game, and they'll try to get their money back after playing every single game.
And I think this is really true of any media, any book, any movie, any TV show, etc. That is the gamble you take when you partake in media.
Yeah,
it might be a crappy movie, and
if you go to the theater, theater. And we haven't done PSVR theater in 2 years. It's still a joke. If you go to the theater with a date or something and you spend $40 to go see, a crappy movie, and then the movie gets out, does anyone ever say that movie was so bad I'm going to get my money back?
If they do and they've gotten their money back, I guarantee you it's because the manager was like, you know what, I want to make this crazy person go away.
Yeah.
The way to do that is to pay them.
It's certainly not a system that anyone else has in place for any kind of entertainment whatsoever.
Yeah.
You go see a play, you go buy a book, you go buy music, anything. This, for some reason, video games are the only medium that people claim this for. And it's so simple to avoid the bad games that in my book, I don't want to reward these people, but also I can't see a system in place that actually is viable for this.
So I mean, my advice is find a reviewer you trust. If it's us, great, that's awesome. We try to do a lot of work to and then be honest about our biases, and things we like and don't like. But find a reviewer who, in general, whose opinion kind of lines up with yours, and just check out what they have to say before you drop the money on it. Because honestly, hey, you worked hard for your money, okay? And I don't want to see.
Hard for it, honey.
Yeah. I don't want to see a single person spending it on garbage they don't really want, and I certainly don't want to see developers being rewarded for putting out bad games. So we're definitely on your side on this one, but just do help us out and do a little research first.
Yeah, we're on your side, and there's, I remember when playing video games was fun, and I only played the ones that were reviewed.
Was it?
Once upon a time.
That actually, I told you I did play the new Beat Saber song.
Oh yeah.
And that's why, because I finished playing Tetris Effect. I was like, I need to play games that I enjoy, just for 20 minutes.
Yeah, so make sure, listen, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure if you want to have your question read on next week's Viewer Takeover, somewhere in the comments, all one word, put hashtag Viewer Takeover. Again, if you change your name to GameCat, we want to know so we can give you a shout out. Hashtag GameCat, all one word. And if you want to introduce an episode of Viewer Takeover, make sure you send us your short, sweet, sexy, mostly clothed on introduction to withoutparole@gmail.com. And finally, go support us on Patreon for $1 or more every single month, and we will love you unconditionally for it, and probably not make fun of you as much on Viewer Takeover.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We kind of dumped on Inspector Gadget, but it was fun.
But I love him.
Oh, I do too.
I do too.
That's great.
I do. We both do. I do. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. Bye.
Bye. I was still